Hi Libras, welcome to your January 2019 Tarology 33 reading. We have a Celtic cross spread in front of us. Normally that's a 10 card spread, but you actually got a couple extra cards. You got an extra card in the past position, in the present position, and then also in your influence on the situation. Oh, actually, and one in the environment as well. So quite a few extra cards to get to. And then as always, we have the Oracle card at the end to help tie everything together. And there's actually a couple new things that I'm doing starting this month as well, but we'll get to those after we get through that Oracle card. So let's go through the messages one by one, starting with the main situation where we have the World card. So to me, this actually represents the North Node. A lot of people, though, will say that this is a completion of some kind. There we go. So, for example, let's say some of you might have graduated from school in December. That's certainly a possibility. Maybe some of you got a promotion, right? Maybe they said, oh, starting in January, we'll give you a promotion based on the work that you did from 2018. That's another possibility. Usually this is a positive completion. Usually it's for your growth. And, like I said, I tie it personally to the North Node. So the North Node, as far as the transiting North Node, was in Leo for the past 18 months. So this could be a completion involving 11th house things, which could be involving friendships, just hopes and wishes that you had for, launching a new project. Let's say that's certainly a possibility with 11th house. Can be humanitarian projects that you were working on as well. And then if we look at it on a more mundane level, if you look at the symbols there, we see the fixed signs. We have Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. So you could be dealing with one of those signs and maybe reaching a completion with them. That's another possibility. But yeah, for me, this is pointing to most likely something wrapping up in either your 11th house or maybe even in your 10th house, because now the North Node has moved into Cancer, which is your 10th house of career and social status. So, this could just be saying that you complete one cycle in that area and start a new one. So, some of you might have been, for example, leaving one job and going to another. That's certainly a possibility. But we'll see as we go along as how it all plays out. In the challenge or obstacle position, we have the Five of Swords. So, this is usually a card about petty conflicts. This is one of those types of situations where all parties involved know that nothing positive is really going to come out of it, but they still go ahead and do it anyway. So sometimes that could be out of ego, just being petty. Sometimes this could be a competitive environment. So let's say that this is related to career. Maybe it's a competitive environment where you're supposed to be excelling, right, with the World card, but maybe there are people in your environment that are using underhanded tactics to prevent that from happening. So, not to get you guys paranoid, but, keep an eye on your environment and see if there's anyone around that might be hindering your progress in any way. And then this could just be saying that, maybe there is, in order to bring something to completion, this conflict needs to happen, And for some of you, maybe this is you in that position, which is, maybe you're the ones who are telling people to back off, right? Maybe that was the karmic lesson you had. Especially, like I said, the North Node was moving through the 11th house. So maybe if these were friendships that you felt you needed to leave behind, maybe that's what's going on there. Maybe this is your, final chance to tell them to screw off and then move along. But another thing that comes to mind too, though, given that I said that this represents the North Node for me, is the fact that like I said, the nodes technically moved from Leo and Aquarius into now the North Node's in Cancer, South Node is in Capricorn. But there's actually going to be one final eclipse on the Leo Aquarius axis. So that could just be saying that the lessons that you were supposed to integrate in that area of life, again, like I said, maybe it's friendships, maybe it's a friendship or multiple friendships where you need to stand up for yourself and speak up about something if they were, in some kind of way doing you wrong. Maybe that's what it's saying. There's going to be an eclipse at 0 degrees Leo. So as soon as the sun goes into Aquarius, there's going to be a full moon in Leo, and that's going to be the last of the eclipses on the Leo Aquarius axis. So as far as a timeline, maybe that's when you finally get that completion. And down in the foundation position, we actually have the King of Swords, which to me represents Leo. Excuse me, not Leo, represents Aquarius. So if we factor that in as well, we have even more pointing to the fact that, yeah, when the sun goes into Aquarius, it would most likely be that eclipse as far as, the world, like I said, being karmic lessons and completions. An eclipse is usually all about bringing those things to the forefront. So maybe this is just saying when the sun goes into Aquarius, that's when this is going to happen. I mean, if we even look at the person's sword, they're pointing up toward that, and then also a little bit towards the card in the past position there, and I'll point out what that is in a minute when we get to it. But, if we're just dealing with a person, this could certainly be an Aquarius. You guys are also air signs, so this could be you as well. And this could just be saying to take on that fixed energy, to be a bit more stubborn and stand your ground. That's certainly a possibility. But with this in the upright, if this is an Aquarius you're dealing with, I don't necessarily see them as being a negative influence in the situation, but, they could just have a prominent role to play. But I'm really leaning more towards it's not a person, it's more of saying that when the sun gets into Aquarius, that's when these things are going to really unfold. In the past position, we have the King of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles. So this is actually a court card for me that points to Leo. So again, like I said, that full moon is going to be in Leo. So even though this is in the past position, like I said, given that the North Node and South Node were in the Leo Aquarius axis, this could just be saying that maybe even something from that last solar eclipse that was in Leo. Can't remember exactly when that was, in August. So this could even be saying that something that's been bubbling on the surface since back then that's needed to come to a head. Maybe this is the month when it finally clears, and then you get that completion. That's certainly one way it could play out. And then with the Seven of Pentacles here, to me, this energy usually represents getting to that point where you're wondering if the work you're putting in is worth it or not. And that could play out a few ways. One way is it could be you're comparing, like, let's say this is someone else's pentacles, So you're out in the field and you're like, well, this person has 6, why do I only have 1? You feel like you've put in the same amount of work as them. You're doing everything they're doing, but why do they seem so far ahead of you, right? For others of you, these might all be yours, but you might be thinking to yourself, well, it took me so long to get this many. I feel like I'm working hard. I only have 1 more to show for it. Should I continue to put in the work or not? Right? That's another way that could play out. And if that's the case for some of you, it could absolutely be a Leo that you were dealing with. Some of you could have been in a relationship with a Leo in the past and started to wonder, is it worth putting in the work that I'm putting in? That's a possibility for some of you. And like I said, with Leo being your 11th house as well, this could be friendships. Again, with the North Node traveling through that area, you might have had some new friendships come in, right? And might have had to reconsider some of the ones that were already in your life and say, all right, well, should I continue to put an effort on this friendship? Or maybe, have I outgrown it, right? So that could be how those energies are playing out, just a few ways. In the present position, we have 2 cards there as well, and that's the Queen of Wands and then the Seven of Wands. So this is actually the court card for Aries for me. So, the simple way would be to say, oh, maybe you're going to be dealing with an Aries, right, when we get into January. But what I'm looking at with this card more than anything is the fact that Aries is your opposite sign. And then Mars is going to be going into Aries right when January starts. So I think that this is, again, more pointing to energy than an actual person. Although for some of you, you certainly could be dealing with an Aries or any fire sign. And maybe this is even for you. Like maybe you're a Libra sun, for example, but an Aries moon. All of that's possible. But the primary vibe I'm getting from these 2 cards is that Mars will be in your opposite sign, and that could bring conflicts with others. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic relationships, it could just be any partnerships, business partnerships, you name it. So maybe it's saying that when Mars gets into the sign of Aries, you're going to have to stand your ground. Now, the good thing is, if that's the case with this card, usually the way I look at the visual there is, yeah, they might have 6 people trying to get at them, but they have the higher vantage point, right? So, you'd have the upper hand, as they say, right? So, even if you feel like they're coming at you with a lot, you should be able to stand your ground. And usually, with the upper hand there, that would usually mean, whatever the case may be, you were in the right. So, if someone does try to challenge you for whatever reason, looks like the facts would be on your side. For example, if this is the job thing, like we were talking about, maybe you'll have luck in that area as far as it'll come out as far as who's doing what, right? So that's certainly the way that those energies could play out. Good news is, if that is how it works, because I know Libras don't necessarily like conflicts like that very much, but in the near future position, we have the Three of Cups. So this is usually a card that points to celebration. Usually I see this as connecting with friends from the past. So, long-term friends or even family members that you've had for a long time. Um, so yeah, this usually isn't necessarily something new. These are usually older connections and usually pretty solid connections. And so, it shows that you would have some kind of reason to celebrate, basically. It doesn't have to be anything huge per se. I mean, it is just a regular card, but it's not like a major arcana or anything, but still pretty good energy. Shows that you have something that you'll be celebrating with others, and it could even be just reconnecting with those people. I mean, there is, with all this conflict energy around, obviously I doubt it would be those people that you'd be reconnecting with, but maybe there has been something that's taken you off course with some friendships during that time with all that hectic energy, and now you get to reconnect with those people. But again, like I said, with the Seven of Wands there, maybe the whole thing with the World card is that the lesson was that you had to call some people out on something, and maybe once you finally do, you feel relieved because it works out in your favor, and then you're actually able to kick back and celebrate the fact that whoever needed to be told off was told off, basically. In the position of your influence on the environment, we have the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles. So the main way that I see these two cards playing out, just looking at it and purely off the visuals, is, to me, this could just be saying to let down your guard a little bit, right? Because if we look at the Knight, obviously they have the armor, right? And then if we look at the Page, they seem like they're much more open as far as they don't have the armor. And yeah, they might not be as comfortable in that position, right? Like, the Knight has a pretty firm grasp on that pentacle, right? Whereas the Page, it looks like it's kind of out of their reach, right? So it could just be saying to make yourself vulnerable in some way, certainly. Um, for some of you, if we want to look at that a negative way, like I said, you will have Mars in your opposite sign, so maybe it can make you feel diminished in some way. You might feel like anyone who does come at you has the upper hand. That's the negative way that it could play out. But really, given that the Three of Cups is in the near future position, I feel like it's more the other way around, where you're actually going to be the one who has the upper hand in those situations, and then, this could just be saying let down your guard at that point, after you get rid of, whatever negative energy there was. In the position of the environment's influence on the situation, we have the Seven of Swords, and we have the Ten of Swords. So, I mean, basically you have like the three worst, well, Three of Swords isn't on the table, but you have three of the worst sword cards there are along the spread. But the main way that I'm getting this vibe is that this, to me, shows that there was some kind of deception that had already been going on, and now it comes to an end. That's what I'm seeing with the Ten of Swords. Not that the person, put it this way, does this look like the person who would attack you necessarily? Not really, right? They look like they're too much of a coward for that. They're running away with swords, hoping nobody sees them. So it's highly unlikely they would be the person to do this, right? So the vibe that I'm getting there more than anything, especially with the World card and with the Three of Cups in the near future for you guys and the Seven of Wands, those are all energies to me pointing to you having the upper hand. So this could just be saying, and maybe that's what the karmic lesson is too. If someone was doing you wrong, this is the month where they get their comeuppance basically, and that could certainly be what you're celebrating, right? Someone gets what they had coming to them. Maybe you were being, maybe through it all, maybe instead of you being the one who directly, um, calls them out, maybe you just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna lay low. I think you guys had a message last month about letting karma play its course, so maybe this is basically a continuation of that. With, like I said, that eclipse finally clearing the Leo and Aquarius eclipse energies. So maybe that's what this is saying, that whoever was doing you wrong throughout that time gets found out and they get their comeuppance for it, and that's what has you in that celebratory mood, which would be awesome, right? That's the primary way that I see that playing out. And then in the hopes or fears position, we have the strength card. Again, this is another thing that points to Leo energy for me. So also that eclipse. So maybe it's that eclipse gives you whatever you need in order to make this happen, right? Like maybe you're still waiting for proof to be able to call them out if you are going to be the one to call them out, or maybe there's something already in play, but you could tell it's not going to happen overnight. And finally, when that eclipse energy hits, that wipes that energy clean and you no longer have to deal with it. But this is just, hopes or fears. So these aren't the cards that naturally, would play out during the month. It's more of something that's on your mind. But yeah. And for some of you, if this was a Leo you were dealing with, maybe you're hoping to reconnect with them. That's certainly a possibility. We have the lovers at the bottom of the deck, so that could be what it is as well. Maybe someone got between you, right? If it was you and a Leo you're dealing with and broke things up, and now you're hoping to reconnect with them, and maybe this month it gets found out that, whatever they were doing to try to split you guys apart was BS, and that helps out. But in the outcome position, we have the Two of Pentacles. So this could be just juggling between two options. Given that we did have those pentacle energies there, that could be a possibility as well. Like I was saying, as far as completions, maybe you're moving from one job to another, right? And there's that transition period. That's certainly a possibility for you. This actually represents a card of Capricorn for me too, the first 10 degrees of Capricorn. So, that's basically the last 10 days of December, we might as well say. So maybe these are offers you received during the last 10 days of December and you're trying to decide which way to go. That's certainly a possibility. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's not the most decisive outcome card, but that's the main vibe that I'm getting, is that there's two options on the table. And maybe that's what this is pointing to as well then. And the world thing there, as far as, like I said, karmic lessons. Maybe there's two job options where there's one where you feel more stable, right? Maybe it's a more well-known company, let's say, and you feel like, okay, I could trust them, right? But then maybe there's another offer as well from a company that maybe isn't as big of a company, but maybe it's something that you'd find more exciting, and maybe you're trying to decide between those two. Okay, which one should I go with? The one with more stability, but maybe I wouldn't feel as energized, or should I go with the more vibrant job offer that's a little more risky, right? That could be what's at play there. All right, let's see if the Oracle cards could provide further clarity for you. We have Come to the Edge. There's the artwork for it, And then number 36, in case that number has any significance for you. I'll read that first. All right, it says essential meanings: courage, taking a leap of faith, overcoming fear, and accepting risk. The Oracle's message: facing the unknown is the only choice you really have right now if you want to progress. It's okay to be afraid. Now is the time to take a risk that is not calculated, to feel the exhilaration as you ready yourself for a leap of faith. Spirit is present, so let go of fear. You are called to express your true self. Listen to your heart and soul, not your head. Come to the edge and discover that you can fly. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you may find your miracles. So, I mean, so far the messages to me definitely point to what I was getting as far as the vibe with the knight versus the page, where I was saying, maybe, like I said, clearly they have armor on, right? Whereas this person doesn't. So it's like maybe making yourself more vulnerable in a certain way and just being more open, less guarded. So it looks like the message there supports going that route. Now, the relationship message says it's scary to be truly intimate with someone, to allow him or her to see all of you, especially the parts that you've kept hidden and protected. Now is the time to take that risk and let yourself be seen, truly seen. It's important that you speak up, voice what you need, state who you are, and say what you hope for. This is not the time to play it safe, but to take a leap of faith. You'll be glad you did. If you're seeking a relationship, the same applies. Take one step forward toward the gods, and they will deliver what you truly desire. All right, well, I mean, again, that really seems to point to the same exact message with the cards and your influence in the environment, which is to say, okay, you could remain guarded, right, and feel safer, or you could take a bit of a risk, right, be a bit more open. So, exact same message there. Relative to what I was saying for those two cards for you. And then the prosperity message says, if ever there was a time for you to take a leap of faith into the unknown, it is now. This is the perfect moment to take a big risk. The unknown is the only choice now, and if you come to the edge, you will discover treasure beyond your wildest dreams. Allow your courage to lead you in spite of your fears. You don't need to know the exact form of what you're going for. The essence is much more powerful, and Spirit has a way of delivering an even better version of prosperity than you could imagine. Take that step. The results will be amazing. So, I mean, they all, the messages were very similar there, and again, they seem to almost echo what I already said in at least part of the reading. So we won't beat a dead horse in that regard. So the next thing I want to do is show you a new oracle deck that I'm actually going to be using as well, and it's the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. And the card you got for that is the Sandpiper Spirit, and you see the caption below, it says "Be Playful." There's the artwork for it, and then the number there is 51, if that has any significance for you. So we'll read that message next. Okay, it says, sandpipers are like cute little clowns, poking their beaks into the sand before darting off to chase the waves. The appearance of Sandpiper Spirit is a sign that now is the time to engage your playfulness. Whatever task you have before you, perform them with a lightness of being. Explore the familiar, discovering the new and the old. Who knows what treasures await you when you let yourself laugh and have fun. Sandpiper Spirit, happy and curious nature, can help you to feel rejuvenated as you remember your ability to run and fly and dance playfully. So, I mean, this is another card that seems to point to the whole thing, like we were saying, of just being open. And like I said, there is that deceptive energy that we see there in the environment, but the vibe that I got right away with that was that it's coming to an end one way or the other. Like I said, whether it's that eclipse energy that gets that out of your life, or whatever the case may be. Like I said, that full moon will be in your 11th house of friendships. So if it is some friends in your circle that are deceptive, it looks like that eclipse is going to get them out of your life for good. You'll be able to celebrate that in some way, shape, or form. And it looks like it's just saying, to be open and vulnerable if you can. All right, and then the last thing that I have is actually I have a mudra card that I pulled for you guys, and the one that came out for you was the Linga mudra. So what we'll do is I'll actually show you the symbol first. So there's the symbol for it if you wanted to try that yourself. And basically these are poses that you can hold for a few minutes, basically as a form of meditation. And I'll read to you what it says as far as the benefits. We'll see if I can get it to focus actually as well. See if you could screenshot that if you want to, pause it and see what it says. But it does say, under benefits, it says warms the body, relieves cold and flu symptoms, reduces lethargy and laziness, increases self-confidence and willpower. So the increases self-confidence part makes me think again about, like I was saying there, the Seven of Wands energy, and then the whole thing about being more open to, that all plays into that. So yeah, and I'll put the name of the mudra in the description as well if you guys want to look it up on YouTube or just Google search it. I'm sure there's videos about it, or just more descriptions about the benefits of it and whatnot. But yeah, this is just something I thought I'd incorporate into our readings from now on. So I guess you guys let me know what you think of it, if you want me to keep them around going forward, if it resonated and whatnot. If you guys want a personal reading with me, you can check out the About section of my channel for more info on that. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, we have a little bit more fun with tarot and astrology there. But if not, we'll wrap up there, guys, and I'll see you all next month. Happy New Year. Bye.